My cabbages! Low, man. Ah, my cabbages!
しっかり足を踏み出して、体重を移動しながら腰をひねり、肩に力を伝えて、
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
What's up, everybody? I don't need the headphones yet. We're going to bring those in later. Of course, it's your boy Andrew Esquire, American attorney, and this legal mindset. We teach you, yes, you, and you, and you, to be your own judge. And today we are recapping the absolutely nightmare court day for Ramzi Khalid Ismail. This is the live version. There will be a fast facts that'll come out right after this. It should be kind of looped in. So if you guys just, let me just check that behind the stage right now. But if you guys just hang out, you'll catch the fast facts version. Or if you come in late and you're catching up on like 2x speed or whatever else, you'll be able to catch that and get kind of a brief summary. Although as a brief summary, this thing took, over, I think 17, 18 minutes, even with me rushing through everything. In recap, everybody who was there today, they actually told me after, and I called everybody who was there. There were a lot of members of the SCT there, so I had a conversation with them, called them up, and they all said this was the wildest day so far. It was the longest day so far, almost 30 minutes compared to 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, 15. This was extremely long, crazy, and when you really think about it, this was the most dramatic and most horrible day for Ramzi. The other days, bad stuff happened. It's never gone really amazing for Ramzi, but today it's pretty much finished. He's pretty much done. This is it. Now, of course, the trial is not over. We still got a date in October. The next date is October 29th, 2025 at 2 p.m. Same courthouse, same place. We're going to have more. It's going to be crazy. The witness testimony, cross-examination is going to be crazy. But as of today, he pretty much locked himself in across the board as essentially guilty here. Not that the prosecution wouldn't have proved it. I think they would. But today we've got all sorts of stuff, sort of legal losses. Kind of his counsel and him got overruled and overturned at every single spot. They did not win a single legal battle in court today. They are 0 for 4 or 5, depending on how many losses you think. Might be over 6 even if you take some procedural stuff as well, some more minor procedural stuff. But he was a complete L today. And also we've got some footage, which I didn't show earlier. It actually happened after the court case, so I didn't have it during my live stream. We've got some footage of him leaving the courtroom, so we're going to play that today as well. And I've got some extra feedback from people involved and some questions that'll answer. So I'm going to be a little bit more capable now that I had some time in between. So if you had questions, you can even ask them again, because, for example, I was talking with somebody afterwards, and they actually reminded me, someone asked about appeals. And appeals are costly if you pay for the lawyer, if you pay for a good lawyer. But technically, Korea is one of the few places in the world where you can get a public defender for an appeal, which is crazy, right? Most places do not allow that, but Korea allows that. So I was corrected on that. So here's my correction. Once again, I'm committed to being professional, objective, and entertaining. And if I'm wrong about something, I admit I'm wrong. I was really wrong about predicting Bong Bong. Everybody thought Bong Bong was a witness today, literally everybody. But it turns out Bong Bong was not the witness that was going to be called today. It was indeed somebody else. So we're going to get into all that today and go over it today. I know some of you, this is the first time you're hearing it because you're just waking up in the United States. If you are, good morning. Hope you're doing well. It is a good day for farming cabbage. It's a great day for farming cabbage. And I appreciate all of you guys being here. Ike Ivnaris, for 10 Oz says, got chewed up on my boss at work after your last stream for slightly hurting his monthly stats. All I was thinking during the meeting was, it could be worse. I could be RKI right now. King Lugia for 1, thank you. J-Adula says, cabbage, cabbage, cabbage. Thank you. Smash those cabbage emojis. And thank you for everybody who gifted new members like Sitatar Luchai, Kopkun Kop, gifting those 5 Legal Mindset memberships, helping you guys fulfill your destiny as future cabbage farmer overseers. It's going to be watching Johnny in the fields. Graham Mazdal, welcome as a new member. Big Buddha says, bro, not another one. I just woke up and halfway through last night's stream. Well, this is a recap. So if you want to substitute this one in, it's more clean, it's concise, I have more analysis. I also got the fast facts afterwards, so you get a lot of options with me. Tomorrow, I will be taking it easy. I'll maybe do a fast facts, if anything, but I might just take tomorrow off because we really grinded today. I've been working all day today, so I need a little bit of a decompression tomorrow, but then I'll be back on at it the next time. I also have a stream with, I think, Tectone and Nux and WestJet, so I do have that like late tomorrow, so that's a thing. Neko Girl says, thank you for this. For those of us who couldn't stay up and watch the play-by-play, my pleasure. Cesar Luchai for Song Roy said, I made it today for the goal. Thank you. The goal is total cabbage victory because we are on our way. And I think we may have even made it to total victory here. Also, Michelle, thank you for the 5.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes.
Let's throw this one in here for Cesar Luchai earlier.
Emotional cabbage.
Thank you so much for that, guys. The big donos, appreciate it. There was a lot of love today and a lot of great questions. J-Dubs says, RK is screwed. Hopefully he gets enough jail with his antics. Thank you for the great news as I start my workday. My pleasure. I hope to be with you guys as you're falling asleep and to wake you up with my humble legal musings. Fallen Hero gifted another 5 Legal Mindset memberships. You know what Ramsey's thinking right now?
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
And by the way, make sure to smash a like because while he couldn't watch me earlier because he was at trial, he's definitely watching now and he's definitely disliked the video. And Zero Yui gifting another 5 Legal Mindset memberships.
Emotional damage.
Super Appreciator for Nugroy says, will the judge ever consider that Hank can't handle coming back to his bed without Somali's comforting warmth? Does that break the Geneva Convention? Yes, it is a war crime. Is indeed a war crime. All right, guys, let's jump right into the PP, shall we? I have got a great PP for you today. It's very educational, very entertaining. It's good stuff. People trying to call me right now. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So let's get into it right now with the recap. So right now we've got the trial recap. This was a rainy day, very rainy. Oh yeah, we have a long and girthy PP today. Stay strapped. Stay strapped. By the way, make sure to answer the poll. Do you think that Ramsey is still living with Hank or did he lie to the court? It's a good question. So it was a rainy day. The court was packed. Korean media was there. The Somali conviction team was there. A lot of members. Hank was there in the front row, and a kick streamer was also there. Now, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but this was indeed a packed house. Now, it was raining, so they were a little bit more relaxed. Like, for example, Ramsey's lawyer wasn't wearing a tie, which normally is like a faux pas. You normally have to wear a tie, but it's a rainy day. They usually let stuff like that slide, right? They let stuff like that slide. So Ramsey's Somali was late again by a few minutes. So Hank was the first one to go looking for him, and so did Ramsey's lawyer. They both went to find him. When Ramsey came in, he was dressed in a black suit, which I have a picture of. You'll see it later, and you'll see video. In this case, he looked gaunt, meaning thin, and people were saying about his eyes, they had dark circles, and they were so dark circled that his dark circles they had dark circles within the dark circles. He did not look good. He looked resigned. He did not look like he had the dog in him. He had the fight in him. If you remember, oh yeah, by the way, Atozi was there as well. It was a secret, but the secret is out. Atozi was there. I was talking to him the whole time. Beforehand, I knew he was coming, and he's a good friend of mine, good coverage. By the way, go watch his channel. Make sure to subscribe and like his stuff because he does great coverage, and he's there. He's there with talking with members of the SCT and other people like that. So make sure you guys go do that. Grandpa Atozi has helped me out a lot, and he is a great YouTuber. But anyways, Ramsey did not make faces or interact with the crowd. He didn't make faces at Atozi or the SCT or anybody else. Hank also really didn't do it. Hank scanned the room, but he didn't actually threaten anybody. He didn't try to mean mug anybody, right? There was also a new interpreter sworn in who was much better overall. Last time the interpreter had issues. Even Korean media got some mistakes because what they said in English was not what they said in Korean. And this interpreter was rated by everybody as a 10 out of 10, as an amazing interpreter. So this interpreter was great. There were no mistakes, clear communication. There was no like mistranslations. So this was a good interpreter. So that was excellent. And that actually helped us out with our coverage of the trial. So big W interpreter. I'll get some super chats. Saisei Seki says, farming so many cabbages. We're making kimchi. Gamer Crown says, who won the dono race? I'm going to have to tally that. I'm going to have to tally the Scandinavian, Nordic, whatever you want to call it, thing. I will be tallying that later today. I did not have I did not have time to tally it. I think Denmark or Sweden, but I got to double check. James Wittick says, Germans still looking for the great contribution war. Hey, listen, Germans. We need to settle down, right? We want Gemütlichkeit here, right? We don't want Gemütlichkeit. We don't want to do anything east or west, Let's leave all sauce in the Sudetenland land alone, Germans. New Morin for $2.99. Thank you. Kathy the Psalm Queen for 5 says, Mob mode. Good Lord, son. Straighten your collar. You were raised, but my collar is straight. My collar is straight, ma'am. It is straight as an arrow. All right. Let's continue here. So, Hanky Poo. Hanky Poo had an interview with K-Town Social Club. This is him in this interview. Now, Hanky Poo sounded like he was backing off from Johnny. And he also said in that, Hank said Ramsey was no longer living with him. So in the court, you have to give your address and occupation. So Ramsey confirmed Hank's address in the court. So one of two things is happening. He's either lying and he's not, and Hank was lying and Ramsey really is still living with Hank, or it's contempt of court and Ramsey's moved and he didn't tell the court. So either it's a crime or Hank is lying. Now, chat, you guys believe that 52% of you believe that Ramsey lied to court, 48% say he's living with Hank. I tend to believe, and most people tend to believe, it's probably Hank lying because Hank tends to exaggerate and lie and misdirect a little bit more. And Ramsey already has enough punishments and contempt of court is not one to add, but it could be either way. It could be either way. We don't actually know for sure yet. Could people check? Yes. Could people report him? Yes. Could they investigate it? Yes. We'll see. If it's not true and there's information that comes out that that was a lie, that could be very, 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 very problematic for Hank. Very problematic. The KKF 1015 says, Hank is such a good, devoted Asian wifey. Roll Dice says, Konbawa. Is this a huge W for us? It's a huge W. Asian Dragon 456 is what? Atozi was there while it was 8, 12, 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll watch after this. Yeah, he was there. He has a short live that he does. You can check that out, like that video. It's very, very short. Frank Preto for 5 says, RK is a contempt creator. If he was still staying with Hank, wouldn't it be more sense for them to come together to save on trial fees? I think they were trying to throw people off. We'll see. Okay. Let's talk about Ramsey's lawyer. He's here. I'm not going to show his face, but that's Ramsey's lawyer. Now, I want to be very clear. I don't think Ramsey's lawyer is incompetent. I think Ramsey's lawyer has been handed the worst case possible with a client who is possibly the worst foreigner you could ever represent, with one of the most complex cases you could ever represent, who demands that the lawyer take an insane defense strategy. And understand this. When a client tells a lawyer, you have to argue this, or, hey, I want to plead not guilty, even though it makes no sense, the lawyer is forced to argue that, even when it makes no sense, even when it's legally unsound. So what I think is going on here is Johnny is telling the lawyer to say things, and even if the lawyer is a good lawyer, it doesn't matter, because what Johnny is telling the lawyer to do just isn't going to work. It just isn't going to work. So the lawyer had a lot of L's today. In fact, he took straight L's, but that doesn't mean he's incompetent. All that means is, hey, he's got a really tough case, and this is really difficult to defend, right? So procedural losses. So right out the bat, at the beginning of the trial, the judge asked Ramsey's lawyer for any specific evidence on the crimes Ramsey pled guilty to, the deepfakes. Now, by the way, some people, they get up in arms saying, well, why does the defense have to offer up evidence? Guys, that's how all trials work, even in America. The prosecution presents their evidence, and the defense presents their evidence. In every single case, if you've ever watched a case, there's the prosecution and the defense. They both present evidence. The burden is on the prosecution. That's also true in Korea. However, if you don't present any evidence, typically you lose. Even though the burden is on the prosecution, typically you lose. Now, sometimes the defense cannot present any evidence and still win. Who knows? It's always possible. However, typically they do win. And by the way, Korea, prosecutors have a 95% conviction rate. So if you're going to go up against prosecutors that only bring crimes to court where they have evidence, and you aren't able to articulate, to explain your defense, that is not very good for you. That's a bad situation for you. So when he was asked, the lawyer said, what evidence do you have? The lawyer was completely flustered, meaning he did not know what to do. He was like, he could not answer for several seconds. He was caught off guard. And all he could say was, oh, well, I submitted the evidence to the court, but I can't remember any specifics. So trying to say, I've given it to you, right? But I don't remember anything. That is bad. That is really, really bad. You should be able to articulate a defense and to bring up a point or 2 points or anything specific. But the fact of the matter is he couldn't bring up any specific evidence that pointed to the fact that RK is guilty. And by the way, once again, this is not the lawyer's fault. The point is that there really isn't any evidence that he didn't show these videos publicly. And that's what the deepfake is about. It's not about whether Bong Bong or Young Man, the two people who the deepfakes relate to, it's not about whether they're bad people. They can both be bad people. That still makes Ramsey guilty. Ramsey is not any less guilty by pointing the finger to other people and saying they're bad. He's still guilty. It doesn't change anything from a legal perspective at all. So Ramsey's lawyer complained about the late notice, saying, oh, the notice came late, blah, blah, blah. And he was trying to say, Ramsey's lawyer was trying to hint that the prosecutors were dirty, that the prosecutors were doing something wrong. They were untoward. They were unprofessional. And let me tell you something. I had several members of the SCT report this to me, and this is a detail that I didn't get till after. The prosecutor is a very chill dude. He looks like an intelligent, calm, relaxed guy. He is not the type of guy, and I watched this prosecutor for an entire day. I watched him go through a bunch of other cases when I was in Korea. The day before Ramsey's trial, we watched him do a bunch of stuff. He never got angry. He never got aggressive. Everybody said this prosecutor got aggressive and countered him immediately. Said, what the heck are you talking about? Now, that's not what he said, but I'm paraphrasing here. I'm putting some emphasis. But he aggressively countered that everything that was submitted had proper notice and filed proper procedure, and that they did exactly what was required by the law. And you know what happened? The judge quickly overruled Ramsey's lawyer and said verbatim, this is not an issue. Move on. Literally dismissing Ramsey like he was a fly, like he was a gnat, saying these complaints don't matter. It's a non-issue. Shut up and move on. Absolute, from the beginning, 2 direct L's in terms of procedure, in terms of presentation. These are massive. Next, there was the new charge. So Ramsey was recently charged with an additional obstruction charge, his 4th obstruction charge. We did not know what that was for. So we found out today it was actually for the conduct on 2 separate Seoul Metropolitan buses on September 27th, 2024. So him monkeying around and playing music and playing propaganda and TTS, that stuff got the charge added. And this is one which, big shout out to Bang TV and the SCT. Those guys were the ones that helped with this and getting this through. And by the way, I want to give a little shout out here because I need to put this up. If you guys want, once again, it's always elective. If you guys want to thank them for getting this new charge, which did stick, you guys can come over to the Ko-Fi, check that out, and donate to the Mindset team. We're at 30% of the support here. These guys and the team got the charge to stick, right? That's Ko-Fi/Andrew Esquire. That's pinned there. These guys helped that to stick. Without those guys, we would not have this additional charge. That is 100% true. Without the SCT, it would not have happened. So what was it for? It was for music, it was for North Korean propaganda, and it was disturbing passengers and disrupting operations. Remember, obstruction of business is anytime the normal operations are disrupted. So anytime that the bus is slowed down or passengers are disrupted, that is enough for obstruction of business. So what did Ramsey do? He bent the knee immediately. He knew that the SCT got him dead to rights on this one, and he pled guilty to the charge that we got through. Done deal with the SCT. Great job. Great job there. Let me read out some super chats and we'll continue. Sai Seki for 30 Malaysian ringgit says, bro, if a well-known chill prosecutor suddenly just gone aggressive, you know you effed up bad. That's right. That's right. Eternal Sun became a new member. Welcome, welcome. Big Buddhist for 5. Thank you so much.
Emotional cabbage.
Jam John says, shout out to the SCT. Just finished the play-by-play after waking up. Cool, and the fast facts is coming soon. Silbury, a member for 17 months, says, Ramsey cashing in on all his media knowledge of the legal process, explains everything, trying to nitpick every technicality. I bet the witness was in his video, so they couldn't argue that they weren't there. Exactly. The witness was there. PB said, if you're RK's attorney, what strategy would you use? I mean, I think this lawyer is doing it as a favor. I think it's a favor probably to Hank's family, etc., to do this. He's on an IOU. So he's not, I don't know whether, he's that invested in this. I don't know. It's also super complicated. So, I mean, honestly, I would not want to be Ramsey's lawyer, and I wouldn't be Ramsey's lawyer. Dornox for 1,000 yen says, it brings a warm smile to my face thinking about all these donos that don't go to him. Oh, every time he sees this dono, he gets massive.
Emotional damage.
He counts every yen, every won, every Polish zloty that I get. Frame rate for 50 Polish zloty says, sad that we're slowly ending his legal saga. Oh, it's not done yet. We got October. It probably goes in November, December. But yes, it is on the back half. We are on the back half of this. Grebo for 10 says, bottom line, everything you learned about the legal process from TV is wrong. Yes. And we've been as accurate as possible here. And when I make a mistake, because it's Korea and I'm not perfect, I try to correct that. Also, JP Ravenfire gifted 1 Legal Mindset membership. Shout out to JP and Danielle. They have been burning the midnight oil. They are part of the Mindset team. They're great. JP was up late. He set an alarm. He was a trooper, even though he's got work and other commitments. So say thank you to JP and Danielle. They are like that meme from Green Mile. I'm tired, boss. After dealing with 11,000 people earlier today, they are tired. So please say thank you to the mods. Also, Asian Dragon said, what's the difference between obstruction of business playing loud music monkey sound to this one? They're different buses. And remember, he can be charged for additional counts for every single different bus he was on. So they got him on this because it was a different bus on a different date. I told you guys, each specific instance can be a new count. Allison Brown says, do you think that Hank was trying to throw his parents off? They might not be happy. I don't know what his strategy is. That might have been it. Maybe he showed that to his parents. I don't know. Maybe he was trying to throw me off or the coverage off. I'm not going to be covering Hank except for how he's relevant to the trial immediately. I'm not going to cover Hank drama or anything else. I'm going to kind of let that go. That is what it is. I just care about his interaction in the court and with Johnny as it relates to the case. That's it. That's all. If Hank stops interacting with Johnny at all, I'm not going to cover Hank. Hank's illegally irrelevant right now because he's got no charges against him. Graham Mosdell for £5 says, may sound like a silly question. Are there other countries investigating RKI and will they seek extradition when he comes out? Not that I know of. Not that I know of. Good question, though. King Lugia for 15. Can we donate some money to RK's lawyer after sentencing as compensation? If you want to, up to you. Asian Dragon 456 says, a Hong Kong drama, which is my favorite quote, says a person can lie, but the evidence will not lie. That's perfect. The truth will come out. JP said this case might be harder to defend than Boone's. I agree. Frank Pareto for 2 says, Uncle Roger, MSG can't save you. You need Jesus. Snacks say, emotional cabbage. Let's drop an emotional cabbage for that.
Emotional cabbage.
Right. We'll continue on that note. Okay. Next, let's talk about what's going on with him pleading guilty. He has now pled guilty to 6 charges because he now changed his plea from not guilty to guilty because of what happened today. This is crazy. So Ramsey previously pled not guilty to the Lotte World charge. He said he was not guilty of obstruction at Lotte World. Of course, we all thought that was insane. We all knew he was guilty. And we were all questioning why in the world you pled guilty to all the other obstruction charges. Why would you plead not guilty? Well, today's witness we thought was Bong Bong, but it was actually Miss Kim. I'm not going to say her last name, but her first name was Kim. Or sorry, her surname was Kim. So Miss Kim, Lotte World staff woman who repeatedly told Ramsey not to film. This woman, and I don't want to show her face or anything else. I don't want to expose her to the SCT or anything. To the Somali Discord or anything like that, or have people doxing her or stuff like that. But she repeatedly said to Ramsey, do not film, do not film. And she was genuinely troubled when she discovered he was still filming. It was really a big deal because he was filming children when he was told not to be filming. And he went around filming children actively after he was told several times. He called her curse words. He called her stupid. He called her a bunch of other things. Very disrespectful to this woman. So this woman showed up. And Ramsey was probably gambling that this was a no-show. A no-show meaning the witness wouldn't show up. So saying, okay, well, if the witness doesn't show up, then we've got a not guilty. We can try to go for not guilty. Well, no. The witness showed up. She was there. She was in the courtroom. So Ramsey pled guilty to the charge. He changed his plea from not guilty to guilty, which brings him to 6 charges confirmed guilty, 4 obstruction of business and 2 minor crimes act. We thought the witness was Bong Bong, but actually we were wrong. It was a Lotte World woman. So here's what we have today. We have 4, and I posted this on X. If any of you want to use this, this is on X. 4 counts of obstruction of business. We know the new one is for the bus and North Korean propaganda, yelling, etc. And he's pled guilty to all of those. He's also guilty on the 2 Minor Offenses Act, and he's pled not guilty on the deepfakes. Now, he's going to be proved guilty on these, but that's where we're at right now. Let me get some super chats. Let's continue in a second. Lune, 18, gifted 20 legal mindset memberships.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the big support of the channel. And please say thank you to Lune for that gift if you're out there in the chat. Showro gave 10, saying RKI is beyond cooked. We need emotional cabbage plushies made with 1 save for mods. I'll not ask for explaining insanity plea this time unless we need a good laugh to ease the tension. I think we're doing all right. Average person says, finally caught a live. Been following since beginning of the Johnny Somali and just finished watching the previous live. Greetings from PNW. Awesome. Well, hope you're doing well out there. Stay safe and glad you made it. Isaacs for £5 says, lawyer, I want to enter an insanity plea. Judge, you can't. Lawyer, no, Your Honor, for myself.
No. Wait.
Average person says, not even Clippy can save Johnny Somali. Equal rights, lefts, and uppercuts for 15 Malaysian ringgit. Says, can I invest in Ramsey's career as a cabbage farmer? I want to eat fresh veggies grown by the tears of RKI. It will be delicious. Oh, that will be so delicious. Juicebox Poppy, 182. Says, imagine how bone RKI is. He watches you to get updates on his own case and copes and sees seeing how much support you get. I know. It's sad. And you know what's even sadder? You know what's really sad, guys? I gave him good advice. I even said today, if he wanted to be guilty on everything and get this over soon, plead guilty. If he pled guilty, this thing could have been over and sentencing would have been in September or October. Now he's got a late October date, almost November. It's October 29th. This trial will go probably in December and in January at this point. Maybe longer, could be November, but probably December, January of 2026. And even if it gets pushed more and goes to February, here's the scary thing. The judges can rotate in February. So if the judges rotate out, it can take several months for a new judge to get up to date. He might not get out of there till mid-2026 if this thing really gets pushed far. If he listened to me and pled guilty on everything, said he was sorry, submitted an apology, all that good stuff, he would have been out there sooner. Or at least, look, even if he was sentenced, as soon as he starts serving his sentence, the sooner he's out of there. The sooner he accepts that he is not getting away with this, the better. But he refuses to do that. And once again, it's all pure ego and thinking that I'm just full of it, thinking that I'm lying, thinking I'm making it up, but I've been proven right time and time again. Now, mind you, I can get minor details wrong. And when I do, I update and correct them. I'm not perfect. I'm not infallible, but I try to do the best and improve and try to be educational, entertaining, and objective and professional. I genuinely do. And I've presented the strongest arguments Ramsey can make, but he decides not to make those arguments, but instead make up some crazy stuff that his Discord made up. His Discord are not lawyers. They're certainly not South Korean lawyers. And stuff they think works on the internet, surprise, surprise, does not work in South Korean court. It just doesn't. Nikita, as a new member, welcome. Jose said, what do you think Johnny Somali's finances look like? I don't know. I think he may have gotten like a cash donation or something from somebody, or I don't know what's going on. There's something going on with that. We don't know. I think we'll find out at some point. I think the real story will come out at some point. Neko Girl says, the next trial date is the day before my wedding anniversary. I'm an S president. Well, hey, happy wedding anniversary. That's awesome. And congratulations to you and your partner. Forian, for 10 Polish zloty, said, did Ramsey have a revelation? Apologize. No, he has not. He is not. Mr. Perixim, too, says, just got here. From what I gathered, Johnny messed up so bad, not even you or Phoenix Wright could defend him. Nope. No objections there. Silent Asian 89 says, those donos are going to a good cause. The arcade Discord and mods. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay. Let's continue. 5,000 people watching, guys. Make sure to watch the video because we're getting into the deepfakes. And guys, this deepfake part, pay attention. Because this is a confession on a crime that guarantees jail time. That is mandatory. There's no fine. It's just jail time. Now, yes, the judge could technically enter a suspended sentence, but based on the fact that Johnny Somali is a repeat offender who's going to be convicted of 8 crimes, there's no reason why the judge should give a suspended sentence. That would be insane. Insane. So we're talking about the deepfakes here and how he is done. Let's watch this. So in the deepfake disaster, Ramsey's lawyer argued that Ramsey doesn't know how to make deepfakes, so since he didn't make it, he's innocent. First of all, and let me pull the chat here because this is a big one. This is a big one. I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Ramsey knows how to make a deepfake? Yes or no? I want to know what you guys think. I really want to know what you guys think because, and I'm biasing the poll a little bit here. But guys, we have AI. You can go and ask an AI to make a deepfake for you, and it makes it in 2 seconds. It is not difficult to make that. And beyond that, if your Discord made it for you on your behalf, that's you making it because you tasked them to do it or you asked to do it. And beyond that, the craziest thing is it's not relevant whether or not he made it. And the prosecution jumped on this immediately. So the second the lawyer tried to argue, oh, he didn't make it, therefore he's innocent, the prosecutor, once again, this is the prosecutor that is normally a chill dude, super chill dude. He aggressively countered and said no. So you deny making the deepfake, but you admit to distributing, which means publishing the deepfake. And Ramsey's lawyer said verbatim, well, he was drunk. He admits distribution, but denies production. So saying he admits publishing it and showing it on stream. He admits distributing it via the internet, showing it live. He confesses that, but he denies production. Well, here's the bombshell, guys. First of all, drunkenness is completely irrelevant. The statute, the law, does not care about your state of mind. It doesn't care whether you're drunk or high or sleepy or mad or tired. All the statute cares about is whether you distributed or published it. And I'm going to show you the Carfax here to show this to you. So you guys see this out loud, how screwed he is. Here's the language. Now, this is a little small. I know that. So I blew up number 2 because this part is relevant. Now, he's going to be charged on number 3 and number 4. Number 3 is anybody who commits a crime under paragraph 2. So that's why we have to read paragraph 2. By means of an information or communication network, that's the internet, against the will of the subject, Bong Bong and Youngman, for the purpose of making profit. So we know that he was streaming and making money. The purpose was to make money. That is imprisonment with labor for not more than 7 years. Imprisonment with labor for not more than 7 years. There's no fine. There's nothing else. This is the big one, guys. And 4 says if you habitually commit it, meaning if you have several, it's aggravated. You get more extreme punishment. Okay? But what does the statute in number 2 say? Because a person who commits a crime under paragraph 2. Paragraph 2, now paragraph 1 does talk about editing, sensitizing, and processing. But this is paragraph 2. Paragraph 2 says a person who published. Published means showed, whether it's online, in person, by text. All it cares about is that he published it. So literally, his lawyer and Ramsey, because Ramsey is admitting this, it's really Ramsey through his lawyer, right? Ramsey has confessed to the crime. It's over. Now, he's entitled to call witnesses or to have a defense and cross-examination, and he's going to get the cross-examination. But in the eyes of the prosecution, it's done here. The judge was kind of making a face when this happened because the judge and the prosecutor get it. They understand the law. But clearly the lawyer, and maybe it's really Ramsey or really it's the Discord that's trying to make an argument that really doesn't stand up in Korean court. Trying to say, oh, well, you can't prove he made it. Well, that doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. You're done here. Rip. That's the language. The language is right there. You guys see it. A person who is published. Clear. No messing around with that. I mean,
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
seriously. We got him, boys. We got him. Let me get through this. Shidlin Lightblade gifted 10 legal mindset memberships. Thank you.
Emotional cabbage.
So I got Save the Doctor. I love the Doctor as a new member. And Alex Moffat for 2 saying, I don't think he knows how to. I think he had someone in his little pack do it for him. But like you said, really doesn't matter. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who it was. Asian Dragon 456, I saw a little bit. He was not drunk. He was clearly saying how he wanted people of Korea to say Bong Bong was his girlfriend. No, he said Bong Bong is my girlfriend. He said, look, this is my girlfriend. I have a Korean girlfriend. Her name is Bong Bong. How can a drug like alcohol make Rambo No Pants made him distribute the dick face? He was not drunk. You could see that. And it wouldn't matter if he was anyways. Juicebox Poppy says, let me get this straight. RK's own lawyer said he's so dumb that he cannot make a deepfake, but he did publish it. That's basically saying my client is a moron, sir. I give up. Yeah, it's like a drunk driving defense. It's crazy. Thrawn said, are we just through the nation war? Sure. The Czech Republic pulls, Cheshire, change the name, right? Cheshire pulls forward with 500 Czech krona. Thank you for that. Grebo for 10 says, if he pled guilty earlier, do you think he'd have avoided that witness request for high punishment? Yes, for severe punishment. There's a petition for severe punishment. Yes. If he apologized, if he said he was sorry, if he pled guilty, this would be probably over by now. That didn't happen. Once again, he is a victim of his own obstinance. Cheers from Japan. We want to see him locked up. Awesome. And I know Japanese people feel like they failed, but I think it set the precedent for this. I think if Japan didn't take action, and if it didn't show that a slap on the wrist won't work, this wouldn't have come to the head. PB0986 is legal. Who do you think is worth RKI Vitaly? I think probably RKI at this point. Vitaly may be going through a legitimate I'm sorry. And Vitaly is having some really severe his body's changed. So I don't know about Vitaly. I can't say for sure, but I'm more on the side that Vitaly may correct his ways and RKI may not. So of the two, I do think Vitaly is probably more likely to realize that he messed up. And also, Vitaly may have been on some substances and other stuff like that. It may have a chance to come down and get off of them and get his mind right. Guys, I'm not unempathetic. I don't want people to be in jail forever. And if Vitaly comes around, then that's fine. But I'm not sure whether he is or not. So I'm not positive. But Ramsey, I am 100% certain, has not come around. I know that for sure. Pop-Tart Bandwagon as a new member. Thank you. Joel GSI for $5 says, waiting for the Netflix series to drop named Somali, legend of the news streamer. Actually, there is a documentary that's coming up called IRL. That's going to go through the nuisance streamer kind of menace, including Johnny Somali. And I'm going to have some clips and stuff from that later. I showed one during my live, but that's going to be featuring the saga. So there's going to be stuff that's positive about turning this stuff around. Melissa Artemis for 50,000 in Indonesian rupiah says, doubt he got the mental capacity to ask for others to sue. Not that matters. Guilty is pretty much definite anyways. Yeah, he's pretty much guilty. Mr. Paradoxum says, lawyer, objection. My client is too stupid to do it. Judge, overruled. He may be stupid, but he still distributed it. That's right. EDMG says, even if the law did care if you're drunk or high, I imagine it wouldn't help him because it shows you lack responsibility with the substance. And he possibly could be convicted for use of a substance, especially if it's an illegal one. Master Grunt says, hire the A-team. That's right. Thank you. And double hire the A-team. Let's see here. We've got John Vassy said, ignorance of the law is no defense. And he's damn ignorant. He's ignorant, but I think he knew what he was doing. Callie's Rabbit for 20 says, I admit to distribution of the super chat, but I deny production of the money. Well, YouTube would say elsewise. Annie, thank you for the gift here. Kay's Wolf says, for Canada, tossing 5 in the nation wars, adding the Canucks in with some war crimes, not intending to win, just adding to the checklist to make all suffer. You're making me suffer having a count. Jose Whiteheart says, RKI, got to catch them all. Jail time. Cheers from Indonesia. Shout out to Indonesia. I got to make it down there in the next couple months. I want to check out Jakarta and Bali. I haven't been to either yet. Sergio Turbo for €5 says, would admitting the crime under a non-guilty plea also be contempt of court? No. You're allowed to plead not guilty even if your defense is ridiculous. It just makes you look ridiculous. And the more he fights back, the less likely they're going to mitigate his punishment. If he is really not sorry, that's not going to look good. Duoden 1 says, based on that admission, can the prosecution go for summary judgment? Yes. No, they cannot. There's no summary judgment in here. They're going to go through the procedure they have to get through. So they're going to go through the normal procedures. Good question, but no, they don't have that in Korea. Mossy Pebbles for 5 says, you never shared your cabbage recipe. Maybe an incoming cooking mindset. Lately, I've been using creamy French dressing in my coleslaw. How about a spicy kimchi? Average person for Ryan says, Clippy says, do not commit crimes in foreign nations. There will be consequences. Super Christian Legend ZA says, so now he pled guilty. Is the saga really over? No more delays? Will be fun what lasts? And no, we still have an October 29 trial and we've got more to watch. All right, I'm going to get 2 more and we're going to continue. For 5, M for 5, gifted 5 legal mindset membership. Yes. Engine fare for 50 Norwegian krona says, yes, Judge, I did drive under the influence, but Judge, I didn't make the beer, so I should go free. Logic hurts. That's the logic he's using. And last one here, Antronics for 50 Swedish says, Your Honor, I was drunk, but I didn't put the keys in the ignition and start the car. I only drove it. None of this works. Also, Amanda May for 2 says, victim of one's own stupidity is no victim at all. Let's continue because we've got a huge loss with the battle of the witnesses. Once again, more losses by the lawyer. It's insane. So let's get this. Ramsey's lawyer didn't want to allow the deepfake witnesses. So he didn't want to allow Bong Bong and Young Man to testify. But the prosecution argued that since Ramsey admits distribution, but he wants to pretend, he wants to deny he produced them, witnesses must be allowed. Because Ramsey is still arguing he's not guilty. Even though he's effectively confessed to the crime, he still says, I confess to the elements of the crime because I don't understand them. Ramsey doesn't understand them, but I still say I'm not guilty. Because of that, they have to allow witnesses. And the judge immediately sided with the prosecution. Once again, another loss for Ramsey's defense team and allowed the witnesses. Then Ramsey's lawyer, after losing, requested extended cross-examination. Typically, the standard cross is 15 minutes. And so Ramsey's lawyer asked for 25 minutes. The judge denied Ramsey's request. So Ramsey's lawyer will only have 15 minutes across each. And guys, this is huge because talking to lawyers in Korea and people familiar with the system, they have almost never seen a request to go this long to get more time for cross denied. What this means is the judge is essentially saying, I think nothing you're going to ask is worth it. Nothing you think you're going to ask is relevant. I'm not going to give you even 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes of time. Cope and seethe. This is the judge in a very polite way, right? Subtle way, indirectly saying, hey, cope and seethe, defense. I'm not giving it to you. Whatever you have to say is really not going to change anything because they've admitted to it. So the judge in his mind is like, you're wasting all of our time. Base judge. Base judge.
Emotional, damn it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
The judge knows. The judge knows. Casperia says, can RK use the drunken Dumbo goofball? No, it's not a thing. Theme Pro says, what year do you think will be sentenced? Probably late 25 or 26. So either the end of this year, could be November, December, January 26. So in that winter time. Good time, by the way. Cold in Korea, though. He's going to have to snuggle up. Neo Scener, Stephen Sean says, in Indonesia, go to Semarang for the food. Cool. 20,000 Indonesian rupiah. Thank you. Tyzoid for 5 says, I got the feeling he was willfully ignorant. In any case, it's not really that hard to behave positively. It really isn't. And it's not that hard to apologize. And he refuses to do it to this date. Guys, it is standard. It is standard in a Korean case to say you're sorry and do it quickly. He is still, at this point, at the late in the game, not apologized for anything. This is unprecedented. In any standard Korean case, they would say submit an apology. He's not done it. He's not done it. This is nuts. This is absolutely him looking for disaster, him courting disaster. Anthony said, it'll soon be time to get RKI farmed kimchi. That is right. Big Buddha says, it sounds like the judge ran out of Fs. Johnny FA'd in court, and now he's time to FO. Joseph for 2 says, the prison will be sentenced to dangerous. I wouldn't say dangerous, but it's not warm and fuzzy. Neuro Morin for 499 said, will the charge related to him talking to minors be separate? Yes. Most likely that will be a separate case when it comes down, if it comes down to be a separate case. Most likely. What about his threats to spread HIV? That one, I don't know if that one's being investigated or not. I don't think so. Right now, it's just a Child Welfare Act, which is being investigated. I'm here for the scuffle, says for 10. Off topic, what is the best way to deal with your grandfather doing shitty things with your grandmother's will, with your mother's will? Talk to an attorney, a local attorney. Probate law is super local. So I don't know where you're at. I don't know where your jurisdiction is. Talk to a local probate attorney and tell them all the facts. That's the way to do it. And it'll be confidential. But somebody local, because it varies a lot state by state, right? So Florida's law is different than Georgia's law, North Carolina's law, Louisiana's law. Hellfire Spawn 041, welcome as a new member. All right, we've got more. So we have some footage from a streamer, it's Paul Risen, who was, I guess, following them. So I'm going to play like a couple minutes of this footage here of them outside of the courtroom. So here you go. This is from the Kick streamer. He was inside the courtroom and he was kind of following them. So let me play this. I'm going to turn on the volume. Turn up the volume.
There's the team. Yo, Johnny. Johnny, quick interview? No. Nah,
So remember, Johnny was willing to interview people or interact with people, at least flick them off, at least attack them.
I guess they don't want to. Johnny. Excuse me, guys.
You can see him pretty clearly there. It's that buzz cut.
Nah, Chad, they don't want to be on camera. They're gonna take a taxi, I think. Tell him you know.
He's not pressing him
I don't
too
think it
hard.
matters.
There he goes. There's a streamer. There's some in the
By
background.
the way.
So right there, you guys have it. Normally, remember, he was confronting chat. He was going after him. He was attacking the media. He was going after streamers. He was fighting back. He was yelling. All of that bravado, all of that fake machismo, all of that tough guy act, that's gone. That's gone. I think even Johnny realizes today did not go well for him in court. I think even Johnny realized walking out of there that he is in hot water, that he's in serious trouble. And so he did not say a word. He did not interact. He didn't do anything. And you see Hank there leaving with him. So once again, Hank is still involved here, right? So it's not like Hank is not involved. Hank is definitely still part of this picture. Now, I'm only going to cover Hank as he relates to the courtroom, but he's still clearly, as you see here, side by side with Johnny. So he left quickly. They didn't interact with media or streamers. They avoided the kick streamer. I did some basic research on this guy, and it seems like he's anti-Somali. So maybe Johnny knew that he was anti-Somali and not friendly to him, and he wouldn't give a friendly interview. So maybe that's why. Who knows? Who knows? But that's what we had there. Now, post-trial, here's the important information, guys. The next trial is October 29th, 2025, right before Halloween, a spooky Somali October. Same courthouse, 2 p.m. The next trial is going to be the deepfake witnesses, Bong Bong and Youngman. I'm going to say this 100 times. The next trial will not be sentencing. He will not be sentenced at the next trial. He could be sentenced in November or December or January, but it will not be in October. So it will only be the witnesses testifying, both the prosecution doing direct examination, which is the questions from the prosecution up to 15 minutes, and then the defense doing a cross of 15 minutes. So each of them have 15 minutes. So that's 30 minutes per witness, a total of an hour. So let's say there's another couple minutes of procedure. Maybe Johnny's late. We can expect the next one to be about the longest one possible. So it could go over an hour in the next trial. And we're going to get that. Youngman is in jail, but they're going to take Youngman out of jail in order and to bring him in to testify. So Youngman, even though he's in jail, they can haul him in to testify. They can get him in there. So Youngman can indeed be brought in to testify. Now he's going to be in the jumpsuit, but he's still going to testify. And once again, it doesn't matter that Youngman is in jail. He can still testify, right? Mr. Paradox says, Your Honor, please help me. My client is tarded. Eternal Sun 86 says, how important is a precedent from other countries in Korean court? Not really, but when sentencing comes up, they certainly will factor in that he was punished lightly in Japan and felt like he got away with it and did it again. Riven for 10 euros, says, thank you for your coverage of the arcade story. My pleasure, guys. And if you enjoyed it, you can either like the video, comment, super chat, or go over to Ko-Fi/Andrew Esquire and help out the whole team because this has been a team effort. Randy Matsunaga says, can RKI use a Chewbacca defense? No, that is not going to work. Super Christian Legend ZA says, speaking of coping and seething, got a new cope and seething time. Check email. You will love it. Cool. I'll check it out. Dr. Weird says the tables are finally being turned. That's right. Silbury says they don't want to be on camera. We won. Exactly, guys. Think about a world in which Johnny Somali, a person who literally said he is addicted to the clout, addicted to the attention, addicted to the media, addicted to it. Even a clout addict is saying no. I mean, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We did it. James Whittock says, has RK gotten a new suit looks small enough? I think so. I think he was mocked enough that they went down maybe to Taiwan or somewhere else and got him a new suit fitted. Because that one actually, and I'll be fair, that one looked like it fit. That suit looked like it fit. So it looked way better than the last one. Maybe he just got it tailored. Maybe he got a Hank suit tailored, but whatever it was, it fit. Baldo Metal for 5 Australian says, thank you for confirming that Johnny will be sentenced at his next trial date.
But go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob.
Yeah, that's all I have to say to that. Random Nonsense for 5 Oz said, our production and distribution count as 2 separate charges. No, they're not. They have to pick one, and they're going to pick number 3 or 4 under that statute. Let me go back to that. So they have to pick which one they're going to go with. they're going to go with this. If they can find out he edited it, that would, I guess, that would give them the ability to charge under 1. But the reason why they do that, I know it's hard to see here. Number 1 has a penalty of only 5 years or a fine. Number 3 has a penalty of 7 years with no fine available. So it's mandatory prison. It's mandatory prison. So they want to go for 3. They don't want to go for 1. Because under 1, the judge could let him off with a fine. But under 3, they have to give him prison. They have to give him prison. Now, I have to be honest with you guys. Technically, the judge could give a suspended sentence. A suspended sentence is like probation. Technically, the judge could do that. None of us think that is likely. If the judge does that, I think a lot of people are going to be very, 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 very angry at this judge. And frankly, I don't think this judge is going down that route at this point. I really don't, because there's a lot of attention on this, a lot of international eyes on this. He knows people are paying attention to this. He knows people are committed to this. I don't think he'd give a suspended sentence, but technically that is a thing you can give in Korea. I just have to be honest. Once again, I'm always honest with you guys about the reality. Yes, it's a possibility, but I don't think it's going to happen, right? I think he's going to give around the average, the default, which would be, if he's convicted on all charges, about 4 years and some months, up to 12 years. I don't think he's going to give the maximum. I don't think he's going to give the maximum of 12, but he might give something like 6 or 8. That might be possible as well. And once again, I think would be reasonable under the circumstances. Blue Hawk Legend for 5 says, next time Johnny doesn't tell the judge, you'll bring a fish to his house. The DCV Titan for 5 Canadians. It sounds like RK has learned the difference between famous and infamous and isn't liking the distinction. That's right. Pure Alina for 6 euros says, why are there no accusations for war crimes, nationalist, feminist, or business? Well, what, huh? Well, most of those aren't crimes. Making, like, once again, a lot of people are mad that the statue is not a crime, but it's not. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, it's not. Now, they did make that a crime afterwards in the legislature, but technically the stuff he did to the statue piece, it's deplorable, it's disgusting, it's immoral, but it's not technically a crime. And once again, I'm clear with you. They made it a crime afterwards. And the reason why they can't charge him with that is because of what's called ex post facto. You cannot charge people with a crime that wasn't a crime at the time they committed it. So you can't say, oh, we invented this new law and now you're guilty for this thing you did last year. That's not fair. That's a violation of due process. You need to have notice that the thing is illegal before you're charged with a crime for it. So yeah. So ex post facto, right? Speaking of what's not ex post facto, if you guys, once again, if you guys want to support the Mindset team, which by the way includes lovely mods like Danielle, go over to Ko-Fi here and donate here. There's the Mindset team, the SCT, everybody who's been working on this. I try to give these guys a thank you because they really came through and they're the reason why these streams are possible and the reasons why everything is possible here. DCV Titan says it's never a war crime the first time. All right. On that note, guys, listen, we got a Fast Facts coming up. You guys are going to be able to see that. It's awesome. Make sure you like that. Make sure you comment on that. And guys, I will catch you on the next one. Peace.
You are coping the ceiling. You just can't believe what you're seeing. It's you coping the ceiling. The truth it is all day. And now you are more.